Get away from me, but. Thank you, Sarah. Here.
You know that, what's that?
No.
Did you raise?
Yeah.
That one woman?
Yeah.
I did raise.
Ash.
That's all I know.
Whatever we can, I'm fine with it. But really the issue is. When is the Irish place open?
I hear you.
And we're trying to, that's it, my kids, my kids are gone.
Not that you have an agenda on the agenda.
Which support that.
Oh, we-
It's actually a report where part of the conversation.
So.
There we go.
Fortunate has to join. Seem to Irish. I could decent truck in the yard. I think people that.
The people don't want to live next to us, those people.
So.
Okay, we're on. Good evening,
Counties. You know.
good evening. Hello,
Do I have a?
can you guys hear me?
Here, we'll share.
Okay, good. All right, good evening, everybody. This
don't
is
have a
the.
light. It's okay.
Oh.
Share.
So we need an AD a little bit?
We have somebody new, yeah, Mike and I could
share.
We'll shoot. Do you want me to try to go back to my AV days? I could probably hook that up.
Okay,
Yeah, you're scrapped out there.
All right. okay, we'll try this again. Good evening, everybody. This is the Monday, September 29th meeting of the Select Board. With me here, I have Ellen Rosenfeld, our clerk, Craig Schultz, our vice chair. I am Erin Underhill, the chair. We also have Mike Kaczynski, our town administrator, and Karen Bure DeMarzo, our assistant town administrator. We have a pretty full agenda tonight with some very interesting topics, so we will get started. The first thing we have are some announcements. We have, if I can page down, that would be great. Okay, the first announcement is we have a Friends of the Library book sale coming up on Friday from 6 to 8. It's a Friends of the Library preview sale. And then Saturday and Sunday, everybody is welcome to join. There'll be books, games, DVDs, CDs, puzzles. It's really a nice book sale. On Sunday afternoons from 1 to 3, they do a $5 bag sale. So that's always a fun time. So if anybody's interested, that is at the library this weekend. The other announcement is Empower Millis. There are new rates that have come out for electricity. You can contact, there's information that will be posted on our website in.
Yep, it's on the homepage of the website.
Okay, on the homepage of the website. And you've probably already gotten a letter in the mail like I did, talking about the rates and the different options and who to call if you wanted to change any of your options. So it looks like we've got some good rates available. It's a nice program. If anybody's interested, please check it out. Middle high school update.
You know
Go
what
ahead.
it is? There's not a lot of updates on, what's happening. Still waiting to hear back from, who we waiting to hear back from?
MSBA.
It must be,
The
and
MSBA.
we should be hearing something in the next week or so.
Yeah. They'll give us the number, they'll give us what their contribution is, which then allows us to tell you what your contribution may be. In the meantime, this coming, on October 5th, which is Sunday, a week from yesterday, the fire department's gonna be having their annual open house from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's more than an open house. It's almost like a little bit of a Millis Day. They have tables set up for all kinds of things. The Council on Aging is there, the library is there, there's events in the back. They burn down something to show us how they can put the fire out, which is wicked fun. And there'll be a table set up for the school. The
Good.
school pack will have a table. They have some easels with the school plans. They have brochures to hand out and they will answer anybody's questions. So that is a week from yesterday at the fire station, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, and we were set up at the road
Fun run
race, the fun
yesterday.
run. And we had a lot of good questions there, so if you have questions, you would like to speak face to face, come on out.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Any other announcements from either of you? No, okay. All right, so the first thing we have on our agenda is to vote to close the November 10th Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. At your most recent meeting, you had voted to keep the warrant open for 3 weeks until tonight. So tonight I am asking that the board close the warrant for the November 10th Fall Annual Town Meeting. I will be going over the draft articles later this evening that we currently have.
Okay,
All right, were there any petitioned articles that came in?
I'm not aware of any petition articles that we've received.
All right, then I move that the board close the warrant for the November 10th Fall Annual Town Meeting.
Second,
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so the next item we are.
Madam Chair, we're gonna
Okay.
request that we'll skip the next item. We'll have that on a future agenda.
So because we have a hearing coming up, maybe we will move,
You do have a couple items, brief items you could act on. One would be the Field of Flags approval
Okay.
for the Fisher House.
let's do that. So the Millis Lions does a fundraiser, every year. This year it is to benefit the Fisher House, which is a, organization that helps veterans. And the approval that we're looking at tonight is to approve a field of American flags to be placed on the front lawn of Town Hall.
I know you gotta,
I'm trying to scroll
We have to-
on the right page.
On this?
Yes, thank you.
I'm holding it in my hand.
So we will post this.
Yes, we can
Yes.
post it on the website.
Okay, so we're gonna post a copy of their form on the website. There's a way that you can send a check to the Lions for $10 to dedicate a flag in honor or in memory of somebody. So again, all monies will benefit the Fisher House in Boston, and they will be placing the flags out. It looks like they're planning to display 1,000 flags in front of Town Hall.
What is the date from November 2nd to what?
So they originally asked for 3 weeks, but said they would be, they originally asked for 3 weeks, but they would be thrilled if you would allow it for 4 weeks. So I guess it would just be, the only reason would be to have to mow the lawn. I don't know why it would matter.
No, I don't think it would
I
matter.
don't think another week will make a difference. I think it's probably good. It's a fundraiser, but that's up to you.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So what,
So
November
that'd be November
29th?
29th, correct?
All right, I move that the board approve the request submitted by the Millis Lions for placement of a field of flags to benefit Fisher House from Sunday, November 2nd, 2025 to November 29th on the front lawn of the Veterans Memorial Building adjacent to the Veterans Monuments.
second,
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
I,
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm sure
the
you can
minutes?
take up the minutes.
Yeah, let's do the minutes.
I move the board approve the draft minutes from the select board meeting, a tri-board meeting, which was held on September 18th, 2025 as written.
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We are too speedy.
A good tri-board meeting. We
It was.
discussed. No.
It was a good tri-board meeting.
You could do your liaison update.
Well, we only have 2 minutes.
Less than, yep. How about,
Me.
refer the zoning? Is that something
Yeah, I
you
prefer the zoning.
Yes, that'd be brief.
want to refer the zoning? 25-20.
Yeah, the zoning map reflecting proposal, this is the FEMA changes. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
I move the board refer the draft zoning map reflecting proposed amendments to the FEMA compliance for consideration and review by the planning board at a public hearing to be held on October 7th, 2025.
Second,
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
think we're good.
I think it's close enough.
close enough, all right, great,
Yes.
okay.
Drag it out a little. bit
All
while
right,
we set
so
it.
the first hearing we have is an all alcohol license at Wagabrew. So I need to open the hearing.
I move that the board open the hearing for consideration of an application for a general on premises all alcohol beverage license for Lapdog LLC DBA Wagaboo Dog Park located at 1380 Main Street, Millis.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the hearing is now open.
So if you
Come on up.
I was gonna say if you guys wanna come up, so this is for, again, Wagaboo Dog Park, which will be at 1380 Main Street, which is right down the street from us here, it's kind of a new concept. And this is David Lapp is here, who is the owner. And manager, and manager of record. So speaking, I'm sorry.
And I'm attorney Jim Heffernan, Rich May, representing Wagaboo. I'm based in Canton, Massachusetts.
So just our process here is you are the local licensing authorities, the select board, you act as local licensing authorities, so. They go through all the applicants go through all of the paperwork that's provided by the ABCC to apply for a license, including a lot of. Information on banking and all kinds of other information. They give that all to us, we go through and just make sure it's all there. Then it comes to you for a hearing, and if it's approved at the hearing, we then send it off to the ABCC and they have final approval. For that, but this is the process here that you're at.
Okay. Excellent. Is there anything you guys wanted to open with?
Yeah, just briefly, as already noted, this is for a new all alcoholic beverages on premises for Lapdog LLC, doing business as Wagaboo Dog Park. Also not here with us, but still very much involved in the process, Attorney Matt Latsky, who was involved with you all with the planning process, the permitting and approval. Using a baseball analogy, since we're in October, we're just in the 9th inning. I'm coming in to help with the liquor license. I was also involved with the corporate formation work. We have submitted the business plan. We submitted a lot of other plans. One thing that David and I discovered while walking the site tonight is that one thing that was missing that we would request to supplement just for the purposes of the ABCC investigators point of view, because they will walk the site, is there is a site plan that was missing out of the floor plans that shows just the outdoor dog area behind the building that is fenced in. So if we are allowed to submit that, we will.
Yes, so send that to me, so
Just send it to
before before it's fully submitted, we'll send that.
Yeah,
I did bring it in case you want to see it.
want to see it.
Okay,
And we can talk about the security and how the entrance is all controlled. We're here to answer any questions you have. And David had a unique perspective of what he wants to serve in the bar, so I'd like him to kind of.
yeah, that'd be
give it,
great.
'cause he really worked good.
You need to move the mic over.
Yeah. 4 inches from your face is what they tell us.
We get spoken to if you don't.
Yes.
So part of this concept is really to support local economies. So all my vendors, that includes even coffee roasters, all the beer, all the spirits, all local New England produced, all of it. It's one of the things that I really am passionate about, because when we spend money here in New England, we should be supporting our friends and neighbors. We should be supporting our families. And by doing that, I feel like we are doing that at my dog park, right? It's quite simple. I don't want it to go into the pockets of corporate billionaires that are in some other state. If it's corporate billionaire here in New England, I guess that's okay. But right now, I'm feeling very passionate about supporting us together. So everything is love. It's a bit challenging, but I think it's important.
Okay, great.
Good to hear.
I have just a housekeeping question for you. Looking at one of the documents provided to us, there's a list of hours. So there's park hours, daycare hours, cafe hours, and bar hours. So for bar hours, I'm assuming that you mean 12 PM on Saturday and Sunday for an opening, not AM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just double checking. That would be a long day.
It is a long day, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting schedule.
So just because I'm curious now, when you mentioned like security, what were you referencing exactly?
So it's very simple, so everything is locked down. And this is for multiple reasons. Obviously, the security aspect, that I want people to come in and out from one location. That's because it's like a membership for dogs. So we want to be able to check them in and check them out. It's also a busy highway. So it's all fenced in and locked down and you cannot get out. And I don't want the dogs to get out. If people can't get out, dogs can't get out. Right, so from my perspective, all the gates are locked, and, you know, for the entire outside area. And the inside area, obviously, we have emergency exits in case of emergencies. That goes without saying, but from a security standpoint, it's one security checkpoint.
Okay,
Perfect.
To the front door, yeah.
Yeah.
Having, I had the joy of actually experiencing this in Montreal when I took my dog up there with my wife and, at a place similar to this, and it was very controlled to the front, and it is because you're dealing with different kinds of dogs and different personalities and other personalities of human beings. So it is a nice way to have it control it, and
okay,
I think you have it locked down.
all right. What questions do you guys have?
So where are we in the process? Where are you?
We are in the middle of construction right now. We just finished all the rough end for the plumbing. So we literally poured, the concrete to tap that off today. And so we're ready to start building the R. We're just gonna start putting walls up soon enough. A lot of the plumbing, the walls is already done, electrical's getting done, we have HVAC coming in. The site work has already begun. You probably noticed as you drove by that you saw some of that invasive species all being cleaned out. If you looked in the back, which is a little hard to see from the road, we've cleared out all the invasive species out there, left the mature native trees. When you walk out, it'll be like walking into the woods and like really nice, very pretty. All the framing is up right now. So we are moving along.
So is
Feel
you,
free to stop by.
I know, I go by there 100 times and I don't think I turn my head. So is the structure up?
Oh, it's
The envelope is up,
Existing.
the roof,
Yeah, it's an
everything.
existing building.
Oh, right. I gotta stop in.
I forgot to mention too, that the target is to open
That was
as soon as possible, but I think realistically, it's in the year, first quarter of, 2026.
exciting.
So I just wanted to mention to the board on the side here, so we have the, and I had asked them to specifically list out, even though it's in all the documents, the times, so that's something that you would have an option at this point to decide. If you're okay with the times, you said you're serving, so you won't have servers, but people will come to the bar, get a drink, and then be able to kind of walk
Also
around
coffee.
or.
Right.
Okay, no, but this, I'm talking about for the alcohol license piece of it. So one of the things the ABCC is gonna wanna see specifically is exactly where you are, oh yeah, you're saying you might.
Hold on,
use the mic.
hold on, can you hear us? Like, can you hear me? Because we can't hear that one. I think there might be something wrong with it. Sorry,
Which one, that one?
Oh,
Yeah, you
There
just
it
gotta
is.
pull
You gotta
closer.
get closer.
all right,
all.
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, you got pull right up
all
front.
right, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right,
But one of the things the ABCC, and I'm only talking about the alcohol portion, I know there'll be other things as well, but they're gonna wanna know exactly where you're allowing alcohol. Because if you say you're only allowing it inside and you let people go outside and they come over, they will pull your license. So you wanna be very specific about, here is the area where alcohol is allowed, right from the get-go, right?
That's exactly what we discovered when we walked the site, when I said, oh, you're just in here.
Yeah,
Well, there's the outdoor fenced area where
Yeah.
if you have a beer, that's where the plan we want to submit to show you the outdoor
gotcha,
area.
okay, I figured, because I looked at it and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's clear, I was gonna ask you anyway, so
And
that's
that's
fine.
where we want to supplement. 'Cause
Perfect.
When we walked the site to, walking a site's better than doing it virtually, so
Yeah.
we saw it, oh, you want people to be able to walk with a beer. ABCC investigators want to know that, so that's what we.
Exactly, I was gonna say, from my limited experience, I can tell you that they call people out all the time on this, so just whatever you think might have alcohol, put it in.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
Are we supposed to look at their hours now, or did we?
We
already-
did, yeah.
If you have
We already
any,
put
yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you have any
No.
questions about the hour,
Yeah.
I
I
would
think
say
they're
best
fine.
chance to talk to them about it, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the latest they're open is Friday and Saturday until 11,
11, yeah.
so.
Okay,
All right,
You don't wanna
That's
test the dog's bedtime.
Yeah.
The dogs are the owners, right?
They have a lot of those.
That'd be mine.
Craig, do you have questions?
I have nothing. No, I was, I
Okay.
read it over and it seemed, except for the AM PM bit, it seemed clear.
Okay. Ellen, anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, do we close the hearing first?
Just,
Or do we
yeah,
ask?
is anyone from the public then?
All right, so now we'll open up to the public. If anybody has any comments or questions about the business, the alcohol license, whatnot, now is your chance. Hearing none.
Right.
Okay,
That's when you know you've done a good
Yeah.
job.
I move that the board close the hearing for an on-premises all alcohol beverage license for Lap Dog LLC, DBA Wagaboo Dog Park located at 1380 Main Street, Millis.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
I move that the board approve the application for an on-premises all alcohol beverages license for Lap Dog LLC, DBA Wagaboo, pending final approval of all town permits and satisfactory final inspections.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
So I'll look for that, and as soon as I get it, I'll submit it and get that process going, and then you can continue on with your other process, and we'll chat.
I have it already, so it'll be tonight.
Awesome.
He's
I
already.
figured you would. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one we have is right on time for a wine and malt license at Ryan Family Amusements.
So I just wanted to give you a very quick background. Oh, you have to open the hearing.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
move the board open the hearing for consideration of an application to change officers and ownership interests on a general on-premise annual wines and malt beverage license at Ryan Family Amusement LLC, DBA Ryan Family Amusements located at 1170 Main Street, Millis.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. So we are
So
open.
this one, we were a little confused, and I apologize. We kept going back and forth. So you've seen Ryan Family a few times recently.
Yes, we have.
So there have been some changes. The initial application was for a change in corporate name and structure. That was filed with us in May, and you as the select board LLA, approved it on June 30th. Then we had a second application, and that was because it was missing a piece on the first application with the officers and directors. Moving forward, that was approved finally on, at the July 22nd select board meeting, so we just got another one. And hopefully this is the last for a little while anyway. They're applying for a change in ownership interest, due to the sale of Ryan Family Amusements LLC. So they're including updated requests for a change of officers, and ownership structure. So that's what this is. So they already have an alcohol license. You're simply amending the license. That's what this is.
Okay. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
If
You
you
gotta
guys
put the
could,
mic right in front of you.
yep, if you could just introduce yourselves, that'd be great.
Certainly. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Mike Rossi. I'm an attorney at Con Kavanaugh, Roosevelt, Fletcher Ford in Boston, and I represent Ryan Family Amusements LLC. With me is Zach McCall, who I'll ask to introduce himself.
I'm Zach McCall, I'm one of the owners of Ryan Family Amusements, and I am here, who's representing my partners.
So I think that the summary that was provided earlier is exactly right. All of these applications are a part of a sale of the company effectively. There's some new investors that are coming in that will become the new owners of Ryan Family Amusements, which is a long time family held company in Massachusetts and beyond. The good news, I think, for Millis and other municipalities is that the folks who run the business, who run the location, they're not going anywhere. People like Zach, who's been here for many years, is going to stick around, and he'll be part of the new team or the new ownership team that runs the business. So all that's changing really are the named owners, the investors in the company. But the location, the hours, the license manager, the operations, that's all going to stay the same.
Okay.
And
All right.
again, they still have to go through the process of submitting a whole pile of paperwork that we send off, so we've kind of gone through that on our own, and hopefully ABC will be good with, CC will be good with it, so we're
Okay,
in good shape.
what questions do we have? Anything?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I'll open it up to the audience. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything? Hearing none.
All right.
Okay,
I move the board close the hearing for an application to change officers and ownership interests on a general on-premise annual wines and malt beverage license at Ryan Family Amusements LLC, DBA Ryan Family Amusements, located at 1170 Main Street, Millis.
Second,
okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, the hearing is closed.
so are you the entity that's continuing on?
I'm part of the group currently that's moving on with the new investors.
Right, so you're gonna still be there?
Yep.
Do you have a card or anything?
I do.
Can I have it?
Yeah.
I might wanna hit him up for something.
Some game cards.
Good bowling.
I think we're going bowling.
No,
Select board go bowling?
I don't need you to go bowling.
I really don't need to go bowling.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Absolutely.
all right. I move that the board approve the, do you have more questions? No, I think you got it. No, we're just breaking things down. I move that the board approve the application to change officers and ownership interest on a general on-premise annual wine and malt beverage license at Ryan Family Amusements LLC, DBA Ryan Family Amusements, located at 1170 Main Street, Millis.
Second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. You guys are all set.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Aaron, three of you.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. No worries.
I didn't know if you moved.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have our municipal moment, which has returned, from our little hiatus.
Yeah, right up. Right.
Perfect.
We are going to discuss.
Trying to share a document.
Okay,
Excellent.
we're gonna discuss the foreclosure process and policy tonight.
I don't know, these have gotten far more technologically advanced,
Listen,
I think more
And
entertaining.
you're gonna wanna pull that, like. 4 inches. 4 inches.
4 inches.
4 inches.
Goes in my head, I know. Yellows.
They've already been in
they'll come
twice.
down and yell at us.
But we're missing a microphone. It's part of the problem. It's okay.
Let's point that out.
Very strange.
You see that?
Yes.
Yes.
We can.
See, I'm not working on this side.
Oh.
No.
So we really can't hear any of you.
We can't hear any of you because this is so loud and there's no
Well,
one.
move
Move
up,
forward.
Joyce, get here.
It's not that, it's the mic up there, the mic's on her side.
I don't know. I don't know. That is,
Jen, say something in the mic.
testing, 1, 2, 3.
You gotta get closer.
Testing.
Okay, I don't think the speakers are on in the room or whatever,
Something's
because
going
usually
on.
it's amplified.
I can see if
We
Jim
can't-
can come up. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Hold
We
on.
can't really hear you at all,
And
Jen.
the odds of them actually watching us are slim, I think.
Joyce, can you hear me?
That was nice.
Okay, wait,
That's me.
you're right on, yeah, it's not turned up very loud.
Hello? Yes, if I hold it right up to my face.
Jen, put it right, swallow it.
No, now it's gonna get a lot of breath noises.
Can you hear her now?
Yeah, I think they can hear you, but they still can't see
It
the,
will project better.
It is not up on this screen.
that's part of the problem.
Do you want me to begin or are we waiting?
Can we give it about 30 seconds?
Yeah.
All right.
Is there another remote for that other TV? Or do we have to watch somebody climb on the table, which I don't recommend? I just came from a workers' comp meeting today. We're going to climb on the table, turn off the cameras.
Is it on? Does it appear to be on? No?
All right, I think we're gonna, maybe you can see it on the. Oh, that's Mike pushing a button. Nice job.
Is it on? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the, and they can't hear us in the audience,
Like, can these be louder?
in the house.
Well, wait a minute, first things first.
That's on.
We got it.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We always could.
Yeah,
Really exciting stuff.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
Get as close as you can.
And the microphones, you can hear on the microphones?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
okay, moving on. Okay, so my name is Jennifer Spinell. I am the treasurer and collector for the town. Thanks for inviting me tonight back for the municipal moment to discuss tax taking and the foreclosure process. The two kind of go hand in hand. Without a valid taking,
a foreclosure cannot, be proceeded. And I think it's kind of an opportune time to have this discussion. Last November 2024, there were significant modifications made to the Mass General Law, Chapter 60, which governs the collections of local taxes and touches upon the tax taking and foreclosure process. So we're gonna get into some of those changes tonight. So on the agenda, we're gonna talk about a foreclosure case that has spurred the way for these changes. A brief overview of the tax taking process. And then we'll talk about the town's foreclosure guidelines, some of the history that I've done since I've been here. Talk about some budget impacts and what's next and any questions. So the facts of this case, Tyler versus Hennepin County, this actually occurred in Minnesota. Tyler was 94, she owned a house in a senior community. Her property taxes became delinquent of $15,000. The county decided to foreclose on the property and the property sold at foreclosure for $40,000 and the county kept the surplus of $25,000. So what is the issue? The issue is whether the government could keep the surplus value of a property seized from unpaid taxes exceeding the amount of the debt. So this went all the way to the US Supreme Court and the court relied on the taking clause of the Fifth Amendment. And the US Supreme Court unanimously sided with Tyler, stating that the county's actions constituted a taking of a private property for public use without just compensation. So they sided with Tyler and decided that the decision was made that the funds had to be returned to the former property owners. Versus it used to be able to come back to the municipality or the local government. So what is the impact? Like I said, this impact has had significant implications for how states and local governments now handle tax takings going forward. So like I mentioned in the beginning, Mass General Law, Chapter 60 does govern the collection of local taxes. And that has seen several changes spurred by this decision. So I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of the tax taking process. Like I said, if a tax taking isn't done correctly, then a foreclosure cannot happen. So taxes are due quarterly at the end of the fiscal year, May 1st. If the account remains delinquent, then the treasurer collector's office will send out what's called the demand for payment. And then that property owner has 14 days to pay the taxes. That property still remains delinquent after the 14 days, then an instrument of taking can be recorded. And that's basically a legal document that's recorded at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. And that just basically puts a lien against the property, affects the municipality's claim. So some key modifications from this US Supreme Court decision. One of them is the increased time frame for foreclosure petitions. Before this change, when an instrument of taking was recorded, a municipality could foreclose on a property within 6 months. Now, the municipality has to wait 12 months. The biggest change that I think most treasurer collectors are kind of scratching their heads as to why is this reduced interest rate. So the interest rate on balances held in tax title accounts was 16% before November 1st of 2024. Now, when we put accounts that are past due, delinquent accounts into tax title, the interest rate is reduced to 8%. And then another big change is the excess equity. So when a municipality could foreclose on a property, proceeds from that sale, known as excess equity, now are being returned to the former property owners. And then there's many expanded notice requirements that we'll get into in a little bit as a result of this change. So the town's foreclosure guidelines, I included that in your packet, but just a brief overview of this document that I believe was adopted by the board back in 2013. It talks about two types of foreclosures. Land of low value, which are small parcels valued under 28,108, that number. increases based on inflation from year to year. And then the other types of foreclosures is the non-landable value, which I think is what we're here to discuss tonight. But the purpose of the document is to collect existing overdue taxes and offer guidance. And some of the guidelines that this document lays out is that properties with unpaid taxes shall be placed in tax title 18 months after the fiscal year in which they are due. So that would be FY 23. Would be placed in tax title now based on these guidelines. And then the document also talks about entering into payment plans when necessary. And then at the board's discretion, the treasurer collector would identify the top 3 parcels owing the most unpaid taxes on the tax title list, and then the board can move forward with the decision of foreclosure. So just to put it into perspective, we send out about 3,400 tax bills a quarter. Less than 2% are in tax taking currently. There's 37 parcels that owe $10,000 or less, 7 parcels that owe between $10,000 and $50,000, and 12 parcels that owe over $50,000. So what is the town's history? In 2015, the board wanted to know what the top 3 parcels were at the time, and they wanted to move forward with a foreclosure. At the time, there was another avenue to take besides a foreclosure, and that's called tax title auction, which is what we did back in 2015. Because the excess equity has gone away with these new changes, these companies no longer handle these tax title assignment auctions anymore because they're not worth any money. But anyways, back in 2015, basically a tax title assignment auction is when the local government sells the tax lien on a property to collect the overdue taxes. So at the time I identified the 3 top parcels. One homeowner immediately entered into a payment agreement with the town and myself and paid off the past due taxes within the year. The other one went to tax title auction. We had a successful sale, collected the outstanding taxes. The property was then foreclosed on by that bidding company and has been since sold and back on the tax rolls. The other parcel, we tried to do a tax title auction, but the individual declared bankruptcy several times. That eventually led to the foreclosure process. Right before we are going to foreclose, the homeowner decided to sell, and the town was awarded the past due taxes of $200. So some budget impacts with these changes. There's a lot more notifications that need to be accompanied by the notice of demand. So when you send out a demand notice, now you have to include an additional form called State Form 6016. That just adds more postage, more bill printing costs to the demand notice. One of the bigger changes is the instrument of taking. An additional step now is that the town has to hire a constable to go out and post the this notice of intent to take Form 6053 on the property, on the residential property. And then in the past, the town could hire an auctioneer to auction off the properties. Now with these changes, the municipality is required to hire a real estate broker if they decide to sell the property and enter into a listing agreement for a year until the property is sold. After the year, if the property is not sold, then the municipality has the ability to go out and hire an auctioneer to sell a property at auction for a minimum of 2/3 of the highest and best use value as determined in the appraisal. And then, like I said in the previously, the excess equity is returned to the homeowner, but if the homeowner cannot be located or is deceased, then eventually it gets turned over to the state, the Chapter 200A. So these are just some of the forms that I was talking about. I have them here if you'd like to see them. It's a little hard to read them. But what's next? So I remain committed to exercising sound judgment and care throughout this tax taking process, enter into payment plans when necessary. And then Jody and I actually had a discussion with a company that, again, was big doing these tax title assignment auctions. Since those have gone away, they had to kind of switch their business model to something else, obviously. And so, they kind of act like a collections agency where we would hand them over the tax title list and, they would go through, an economic review of all the properties that we have out there. They would do a legal review, send mailings to, owner of records to try to collect any past due that is owed to the town. And they would take 10% of the, collection. So I think the big question is, why would you use that versus town council? The town council is going to charge you for every minute that they do research, whereas it's using a company like this and the model is new. But you only pay for success, so if they, end up collecting the funds, then we would pay them 10%. So I think it's something that we'd like to explore a little bit further. Like I said, we had one discussion with this company. But it would be something that, we'd like to explore further in the next couple of weeks. So,
Don't say, don't say that.
Don't worry.
Okay, go ahead.
So you mentioned earlier, all the ones under 10,000 that in Millis, right? Do you have obviously, do you have a total of the outstanding that's owed, Millis?
Principal is about 744,000. I can send the list to Mike tomorrow if you'd like to see it.
Okay. My question isn't so much with what the government's timeline is and all the whatever you have to do, which I know is a lot. It's onerous because Massachusetts doesn't like to take people's properties away. They just don't. It's a thing. We have the oldest property laws practically in the country. It's very, very difficult, which is a good thing. But my question is, what trips Millis's policy to start the process? Is it a number of days that they're delinquent? Is it the amount?
So that the guidelines spelled out by the board that adopted in 2013. So the policy states that after 18 months, a delinquent property is put into tax title, and that's what we've been doing. And then at any time, the board can,
18 months.
ask the treasurer collector to provide the top 3 parcels, and then the board would decide if they want to move forward with it.
But why is it only the top 3 parcels?
It's a lengthy process, and to do any more than 3, and even it's a budget, Terry, it's a.
But as you're concentrating on 3 parcels, all the rest of them are still becoming delinquent every day.
You're always gonna have people that pay off this list, and then there's gonna be new people coming
on.
It's definitely moving list.
So how many, I know you probably already said this, how many parcels are delinquent right now in Millis? How many?
56 in tax title. 56. But the other thing too is the budget for tax title is 4,700 a year. It costs about 2,500 to 5,000 plus time to do one foreclosure. And as you can see, every situation is different, right? The one that we did in 2015 took several years to come to fruition because the homeowner kept filing for bankruptcy. So that starts the process.
Yeah, that I get.
over.
Yeah.
So it's a lengthy, time consuming process. And to do any more than 3, I personally don't think is manageable. It's with everything else going on in the office.
To do any more than 3 in
At a time.
At
They
a
could
time.
foreclose if that's what the board wanted to do, but personally, I would recommend looking at this other business model and
Me
seeing
too.
if they can, I mean, it takes us out of the equation.
Right.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, we only pay for success.
It makes sense because, first of all, it's all they do,
Right,
right? So they know it. And if they mess up,
right.
you get to point a finger at them. And they only get paid if they're successful, so I'm hopeful that they'll try to be successful.
Correct.
What was their cut on that too?
10%.
10%? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I just, first of all, thank you, Jen. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, you did, Jen.
Filling that out.
Thank you.
It's
Good
way
job.
more complicated. So I think you did a really great job of keeping it very high level. This law doesn't make our jobs easier. unfortunately. It certainly put some additional challenges, both from a budgetary standpoint, but also a work effort standpoint. So I think I just want to make it super clear to all of the residents, to the board, our goal is not to foreclose on properties. Our goal is to collect taxes. And we will do anything in our power legally to be able to work with residents, to help them through tough situations, you know, things happen, right? So I would just recommend that anyone that has delinquencies in their taxes, come talk to the office. We'll set up payment agreements that are allowable under the law with certain parameters. And we'll continue to work with people. And as long as there's steady progress and we're able to capture what we need to for those taxes, you know, no harm, no foul. We'll be able to just move on successfully. I think that the next steps to sort of enhancing our collection rates right now is an opportunity to work with a company, MCTA. In the gentleman that Jen was referencing before is very good at what he does and is very successful with collections around municipal taxes. I think that the time we spent with him on the phone last week was very insightful as to why and how does that differentiate. What does his service model do that we can't? Obviously, it's time, right? He can dedicate the time and gets paid if he is successful, which is always awesome. But the other big thing is that they have access to databases that we don't. You know, at best, we can leverage our town clerk and we can leverage information that's available to us through, you know, census, address information last known. But, you know, once you start digging into probate records and divorce decrees and trying to actually hunt down who was the last known party, you know, or the heirs to this particular property, that's half the battle, is trying to find out on some of these aged properties that go back to the sixties, and even prior, you know, those are the ones that are some work. So they might be the highest that owe taxes, but the feasibility of getting those or maybe 10 times the work effort of a parcel that might have less owed. Does that make sense? So I think that the intention of the operational policy that was put in place 10, 12 years, 15 years ago, makes sense from a high level perspective, but when you really look at the policy, we want to tackle it a little bit differently, and that's to, you know, get at everybody that we can access, and then leverage someone like MCTA is Mass Collectors Association, so goofing that up. But anyway, he's got a lot of resources and access, so we would definitely MTCS. We would be, I would be in favor of that, and I think that we'd probably put something before you guys in the future, the near future, to be able to work with him in a one-year service contract.
Are they Massachusetts only?
I think so.
The M
Yes.
stand for Massachusetts?
No.
It used to be Talladge. I don't know. if
Oh.
It used to be Talladge, yeah, Bill
It used to
Cowan.
be Talladge, Bill Cowan, but they switched their
Okay.
names.
Yep.
Are there a bunch of these kind of companies? Not that I want you to.
No, it's a pretty, I would say it's a pretty niche service model. And again, with all the changes in the legislation, I think that,
We must be at an all-time high with this, right? I mean, am I right?
No,
It doesn't
pretty
ebb and
much been
flow.
around 700 to
Yeah.
800. I mean, it fluctuates, like I said, you
Really?
know, as.
You take one off, you put,
Yeah.
mhm. And again, I mean, you know, just to speak to Jen's position a little bit as well, you know, she's gonna continue to follow the law in terms of the timing and the timeframes that things need to be and can be done, and be swift about it. So we're not waiting until September of the year taxes were due in May to send out a letter and say, hey, it's demand notice time, because like Jen said, every time you send something, then you have a window of time that you can't do another action. So they've been very meticulous about, you know, the timing of such notices and being very prompt to be able to not have these things fall too far behind. So this will just enhance our ability to work with the public and work with the residents. Enter into payment agreements is always our first option. You know, we don't want to be in the business of owning properties and foreclosing on, you know, homes and residences in the town. So That's my plug for work with the treasurer. Things happen, we're willing to work with you and this will help us.
Did you, this MTCS, do they work with other towns around here? Do you know anything about them?
Well, I worked with them when I did the tax title auction back in 2015, so I'm very familiar with him.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just a different name.
just a different name, yeah, so, you know.
Okay.
So
And
do
and
we,
he's worked with a lot of municipalities in Massachusetts.
do we need a motion or something to ask them to look into that further, or can we just look into that further?
I think we can just look into that
Yeah.
further
Look into that
and,
further.
and
Yeah, if
maybe
this agreement that we'd essentially,
pull some additional information together about the service agreement and maybe come back with a formal proposal to move ahead with that.
That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really good, great job.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
That was really good.
I'm not
Let's
sure
step up
about
these
the color,
presentations, yeah,
Green from my.
but everything else is,
with lime green.
Yeah.
got my attention.
Yeah. Yeah, we're moving this up a notch.
Thank you. Yeah, you're off the hook now. Thank you so much.
See you in a few months about another topic.
Yeah.
We go too far.
Yeah.
The next item is,
We have a small town.
bylaw changes.
Thank you. Yeah, so the next item we have on our agenda is the proposed bylaw changes
Yeah.
to Article 6 appropriations.
Yes, Madam Chair, I can start this. I have had some discussions with the finance director about this in reviewing the different aspects of our bylaws having to do with financial thresholds. She pointed out, and it's something that I had thought about a little bit, but she pointed out in her review that these numbers are quite low in comparable communities and to how things are viewed from the state, from the different procurement thresholds. So under Article 6, I believe, of the bylaws, it talks about different contracting authority thresholds. And speaking with Jody, she had some recommendations and I support those. So Jody, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about your review of that and what the recommendations are and the justifications for those recommended changes.
right? So everything that Mike said, the current bylaw is low as far as the thresholds go, for the authorization and awarding authority on contracts and related, garnering of supplies and services. So right now, the contract, award thresholds start at $3,000 that department heads can sign up until. However, if you look at our procurement laws, chapter 30B, there's a few others, but that's the main one. Sound business practices are really the threshold from $0 to $10,000 purchases of supplies or services. And I just wanted to pull our current bylaw up and into the present as far as the thresholds go, for Mass General Law. So the recommendation is within those three sections, there's section A, B, and C of that bylaw. That start at awarding authority for department heads at 3,000. I'm recommending that to go to 10,000, just like 30B. The next threshold is between 10,000 and, $3,001 and 10,000. I want to bump that up to $10,001 to 50,000, which again is in line with written proposals that come in that next threshold. And then the final threshold would be anything, right now it's $10,001, but I'm recommending $50,001. So really just upping those thresholds to match what sound business practices, written policies, and then sealed bid processes through, 30B and chapter 139, et cetera. Beyond that, the cost of goods and services has just gone up, right? So what you're signing off on at $3,000 15, 20 years ago is a lot different than
Close to the
what you're
10.
signing on now.
Yeah.
So
For
with
sure.
those couple of changes, that's the basis as to the why. And it also helps us from an operational standpoint that we don't need to have Mr. Kaczynski signing things that department heads could arguably sign. Right now, chasing a lot of those signatures for day-to-day things, will help us streamline our operation as well.
Well,
Questions?
anything that gets us to better business practices, I'm typically in favor of. What about you?
Yeah, I just have a question. When I was on the school building for the Clyde Brown, we had to come in with anything over 10,000 for select board approval, to release payment. Not to enter a contract. We already signed the contract for 52 million.
Right.
But then every payment over 10,000 required the select board to vote on it,
that
I
was a
believe.
special, that was a special vote of the select board at the time. They set those thresholds based
Okay.
on a request from the school building committee and the project manager. That there's a certain threshold. I would expect in this project, it would probably be more like 50,000
Yeah.
or something like that.
Because I'm all in favor of this. I also wanted to hit that side
Yeah,
too. So
yeah.
that the
And
building
it-
authority's not waiting for a meeting of us.
And it certainly would, I think, when we reach the point of, needing to have contract amendments in that project. I think the board could just take a simple vote at the beginning saying anything, that anything
Right.
below 50,000. That you authorize the, school building committee simply with my signature on it.
Right.
To continue without having to wait for the next select board meeting to act on.
And none of these things changed the cost of the project. It was just releasing funds and moving from contingency to actual expenditure.
And sometimes
So,
waiting a couple weeks for a meeting could be detrimental to the project
Made a huge
timeline.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to ask for special meetings for.
Right, and
to
actually,
avoid.
an Article 9 of your draft warrant that you have to take a look at tonight, which we'll talk about later this evening, it does talk about the change in thresholds, as Jody just explained, so.
No, I'm all for this. I think it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Tried to extend it to more things.
Awesome.
You good?
Yeah, any questions? No? Okay, all right, thank you very much.
How did we roll?
All right. The next topic we have is to discuss public transportation in Millis. What we're gonna do, I know that there's some folks here that are interested in speaking to the topic. So what we're gonna do is kick it off with, Bob Weiss and Anne Marie Gagnon, sorry, I just massacred your last name, both are fine. And they will discuss a little bit about, the history of transportation in Millis, and then we'll get to some public comment and, go from there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bob Weiss. I'm the Economic Development Director, Planning Director, Energy Manager, and the unofficial environmental person. But the reason I mention all four of those is because public transportation really affects those issues and many more. We're at a point in Millis where public transportation, we have to explore what we need. And in 2021, the town initiated a survey. It was a primitive survey, only 5 questions, but 240 people responded to it. And 77% of those said, yeah, transportation would be a benefit to the town. And they said that they would like to go to Boston, to Natick, to Foxborough, around Millis, and to several other towns around here. And for the purposes of connecting with the MBTA, to go to restaurants and to get to work, and for social visitations. Now, in 2024, the town meeting adopted the MBTA multifamily overlay district. That is going to bring eventually anywhere from 750 to 900 new families into town, to the center of town, where there is also a lack of parking. There are several 40B projects on Main Street in the center of town. I've just heard of one today where that one for 98 units at Herman's, they're interested in getting back going again. So that's gonna bring us a lot of moderate income people, and 25% of those will also be less than moderate income. So we know we're gonna have an increase of folks in town, in the center of town. And studies have shown that if the farther away from the center of a metropolitan area that you live, the greater is the transportation expense, to the point quite often where it becomes a burden to families. So before all these factors become facts, And, you know, we have to address things after the fact. I'm gonna, ask the board tonight, let's start a conversation, with, staff, with the board, with committee members, and especially with the people, the residents and the businesses of the town. So I'd like to ask my colleague Anne Marie Gagnon to introduce what the Council of Aging is, their insight and what they're doing about these issues.
All right, thank you. In terms of transportation that the Council on Aging provides for older adults 16 over, as well as young adults and all adults 18 and over with disabilities, the Council on Aging is charged with providing transportation for medical appointments, for shopping, to errands, to places where they need to go. We're only limited on basically, you know, hours and staffing, but we take requests from people on a daily basis. You know, last year we served actually 99 individuals of various ages, offering 1,209 rides. So those are one-way rides. And we're on track to do probably about 15% more than that this year. There's definitely room for growth. We have a good response of yes, fulfilling rides, and the only times that we usually don't or aren't able to fill a ride is if we perhaps don't have the driver's schedule is full that day. And we aren't able to get another driver to possibly come in because we only right now have a few drivers, one driver every day. Sometimes those folks both are working at the same time. But that being said, there's a lot of other opportunity for seniors to go different places, as well as for what's come to light most recently. And we have residents here in the audience who have young adults who need to get to work, who need to get to places where perhaps our drivers aren't going that early or being on schedule that late. And for that, I would be happy to have them talk about their experiences, if that's what you would like to hear.
Okay, yes, for sure. Yeah, so let's open it up to some comment, and then I will say, just as an aside, you know, once this was brought to my attention, we did have some informal discussions, and I know James Arena DeRosa has been looking into this issue as well, so it would certainly be nice to be able to add something, so. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi there. This is my first meeting. I'm embarrassed to say at the Tony, but I'm glad I'm here. So
Welcome.
my name is Kathy Brophy, 209 Ridge Street here in Millis. I think I just Maria's gonna do some more of the kind of meat and potatoes. I just want to say how we got here. I think it's important. I had no anything wherewithal around public transportation or access to transportation. When you become a parent, there's no protocol. At the age of 5, our daughter got a diagnosis of autism. She's neurodivergent, and life is awesome with both of our kids. We've just been enjoying life, having a great time, could not foresee some of the needs that were gonna come down the road. Moved here 20 years ago, love the town, done everything, we have our cars. Gina graduated in 2023 and decided, you know, Mom, I wanna go to college. We're like, awesome. Looked around, spent the summer, like a lot of families do, looking around, and for now, Mass Bay, kind of was gonna fit our needs, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. So she's going full-time, Mass Bay, 5 days a week. With that, we are just like, oh my gosh, okay, let's look at how that's gonna happen with our schedules. And, Maria will talk in a moment, but, pretty much everywhere we called, Millis offered nothing, no transportation. All the surrounding towns had things, you can get there. And we were like, okay, so again, you don't know what you don't know. And as we've been looking into this, we reached out, we had a great meeting. Thank you, and we met Anne Marie as well. We realized like, wow, there's a lot of things we don't know, and maybe things we should have thought of 20 years ago. But here we are. I'm a recently retired high school teacher of 31 years in a different district, and my students used to had access to public transportation, senior projects, internships, and they were able to do that. And I think about our students here, like they have to rely on their parents to drive them. I guess I don't know. I'm not a teacher here. And our son, he goes to Norfolk Aggie, he's loving it there, but, you know, I would love him to be also able to say, hey, I wanna go to my friends to the Native Mall, we're going to Boston. And we don't have it here. So we've been doing a lot of research around ADA regulations, Title II, and that's why we're here. Just like saying, okay, what can we do? What can Millis do for everybody in the town? All right, so I'm gonna let Marie.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being such an active listener. And we are definitely not here to complain. We are here to be part of the solution and to solve a problem. And I just want you to know that. I mean, it really is a privilege being here. So we've called several organizations. We have called the Association for Autism and Neurodiversity. We have called the Federation for Children with Special Needs. We called the Metro West Center for Independent Living. And all of these organizations did some research in regards behind the scenes because we had told them the predicament. We don't mind driving our daughter. That's number one. But number two is she's 20 and she should be able to be independent. And so given that, she's able to, you know, find a way around town and walk to a bus stop, but there's no bus stop to walk to. There's nothing to take her anywhere. So with all this research, I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna call the transit companies myself anyway and see what I can come up with. I called the Metro West Regional Transit Authority, the RIDE, GATRA, which is the Greater Attleboro Taunton Regional Transit Authority. Every single one of them had towns surrounding us, Holliston, Medway, Millwood, Medfield. One gentleman spent a long time on the phone with me, and he's told me 4 different ways to go. To take my daughter to start in Holliston, end up in Medfield, and go all the way around and see if you can get a bus, another bus to Wellesley. It was just insane. So, one of the things that, you know, Kathy had brought up was the Title II, the American with Disabilities Act, the ADA. And transportation, basically, as we all know, is a gateway really to employment, to healthcare, to voting, to education, and all the municipal services. So the absence of this creates a barrier, not just with folks like my daughter and other Millers with disabilities, but all Millers residents. We have a really great, vibrant town, and I'm really proud of it. But the reliable transit option would bring tremendous benefits to all of our residents, especially to the elderly and those with disabilities. I think accessible transportation is a legal requirement under the ADA. More important, it really is an investment in dignity. It's an investment in inclusion, and it's an investment in the well-being of every single resident. Now, I had mentioned the survey. And I was really surprised to see that 189 of them stated that they wanted. That's a good thing. And as he mentioned, this apartment complex is going up, and they already have been. 12 units way down there, 24 units over here near Queen Rivera. Then we have plans to take the GAF and, you know, site and make possible residential development. I just want to also say that all those folks that are coming in, many of them don't own cars. Owning a car is a privilege. And all of us in here that do own a car are so lucky. And believe me, I do not take that for granted. I'm so blessed to have the means to do that, but other folks don't. And so if they don't, and we don't have public transportation, what it creates are barriers. And number one barrier is isolation. And we definitely want people to be able to get around town, to come to our businesses here, to go to employment opportunities we might have, go to healthcare facilities, to vote, and also for social connection. I think fulfilling the ADA obligations, supporting seniors and residents with disabilities as well as families, reducing isolation, strengthening our community connections, and really unlocking state and federal grants to help us cover the costs will do us well here in Millis. I really believe that. So I guess what I really wanted to end with too was, I said in the beginning, we would love to be part of the solution. And we will be, we would be able to really give you our time and talents, because we're willing to do that, not just for our daughter, but for the residents of Millis. So I guess what we're asking for is some sort of a response back of what are your thoughts? And where do we go from here? What's an action plan on to that we can start right away? Because we're very, very willing to do that. I appreciate you giving me the time. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. I think we have at least one more person that wants to talk, and then we'll talk next steps. Maybe two more people. Yep, okay.
Hello, Amy Dagan, 38 Timberline Road. I think you all know me just a little bit. My daughter Maura is 22 and has Down syndrome. And I made many of the same calls that you guys did. Also included GoGo Grandparent, which is like an Uber service for seniors or disabled people. And I also reached out to the senior center, Council on Aging, sorry, for assistance. And Anne Marie was really great and connected me, and we've been able to actually utilize their services. Her and her staff were really accommodating because Maura works at Roach Brothers. So it was an early morning pickup before their hands. So what was a very reasonable fare for the transportation compared to Uber. Literally, we live 0.8 miles from Roach Brothers, and it would have cost $26 to Uber that, because we're in a remote location. And it was like, it's her bike check right there, round trip, right? So we were so very thankful, and Laura had a great experience. The driver was more than happy, engaging of her, supportive of her. Saw him 2 or 3 weeks later after this particular ride, and like totally engaged. Laura, how are you? And it was a great experience for her. So we're going to be doing that on a more regular basis. But the difficulty comes if I have a emergency that we can't plan ahead for that. Makes it more challenging, especially because it's early morning, right? So I would just encourage anything that can be done, should be done, because there is a great need. You talk about being independent. If she actually wants to get her driver's license, no further comment on that at this time. But she wants the independence, and she needs it. She, kind of willing to walk, but not so much. But that's a danger too, just in the world we live in. But I would just support, try to support anything that you can for Anne Marie and her team, because there is a huge need. Laura has peers in town, same situation. So I'm very grateful to you and your team. And I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for a living union, it's certainly not a small town, and I grew up in Maine, ago, so this has been on the radar for a long time, presentation, we're never gonna get a commuter rail, we're never gonna get the train in town, it's never gonna happen. So, we can get a bus service, get the MBTA through here, the ride through here, but people need it, You're living in a world where people need to get somewhere. If you wanna go to Boston, you live in Millis, you can't get there. So we need to do something, and I think if we do something sooner than later, the town growing additional units, additional housing units. Anne Marie do a great job, but the town hall isn't open on the weekends. The town hall isn't open at night. People need to get somewhere at night or on a weekend. Your staff does a good job, like you said, limited on what you can do to get drivers. So if we could get a bus stop in the center of town, maybe another stop somewhere down, it'd be great. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak to the topic? Okay. All right, well, first I wanted to say thank you to all of you for coming out tonight and speaking. I think this is a really important topic, and it's something that, we, like I had said at the beginning, we already started some informal discussions on, and I'm very interested to see what we can work out with the state agencies in terms of hooking Millis up with something. And I might be speaking out of turn, but I believe that folks typically use chapter 90 funds.
Yeah, well, we
For these
we get certain state aid
Yeah.
and usually it's, you know, these services aren't paid directly by the town. They're either through the state program or funds are utilized from our state aid to go towards these regional transit agencies to operate certain transportation modes through the town. So that's something that, you know, I had spoken with both Bob and Anne Marie about, and spoken with Representative James Serena DeRosa about. And that's really what we're gonna look at, is to see what our options are, bring back those options, and see what the best approach is going forward. So, you know, I certainly recommend this evening, the board wanted to vote to direct myself and Mr. Weiss and Ms. Gagnon to review this and come back as soon as reasonably possible with some proposals, some options for the board's consideration. I think that's the best path forward at this time.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that I move the board direct the Economic Development and Planning Director and Council on Aging Director to research local transportation options to present to the select board at a meeting in December.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank
So
you.
we will definitely be working on this and we will follow up and I at least have some emails, so I can get your contact information too and keep you posted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
You can stay right there, Bob. I think we've got.
Yeah.
I was just looking. Okay. And if you can believe it, we are right on time.
Yeah.
You're always on. I can't believe it.
Yes.
It is, it's all in the agenda. All right, so Bob, we have authorization to vote to enter into contract for diesel and gasoline.
Madam Chair, we do have two proposals for vehicle fuel for the board to approve and to allow the town administrator to execute. A diesel fuel contract proposed from Burke Oil for $2.69 a gallon. Would start from October 1st and run through next September 30th. And the gasoline contract for unleaded from Global Montello would be at $2.30 per gallon, and that would run from January of 26 through August of 26. So we normally go through, and we did this year too, the Norfolk County consortium, which is the South Shore Purchasing Group, and that's where this came from. So we're able to cash in on a guarantee of gallon usage from a number of communities, all of which are use more gas and diesel than we do.
Okay.
All right. I move the board authorize the town administrator or his alternate of choice to approve a one-year contract to purchase gasoline through Global Montello Group Corporation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
I move that the board authorize the town administrator or his alternate of choice to approve a one-year contract to purchase diesel through Dennis K. Burke, Inc.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I don't know if you actually mentioned that for item number 25, 184, which was a presentation that had been scheduled for
Oh, I didn't
Millis
mention.
Yeah.
permitting. It's just, we are passing over that for this
Yes.
meeting, and that will be on a future meeting for anyone who happens to be listening.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Nope, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so the next thing we have is the review of the draft fall town meeting warrant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just this afternoon, I did send email to the board. The most up-to-date draft of the fall annual town meeting warrant. you will notice it did grow by 2 articles. We have 16 proposed articles, before you. The 2 that were added, one was for the, community preservation funds for ADA accessible trail construction, and another was for cyclical recertification processes for the Board of Assessors. We have to do that every 5 years on the state law. So if you'd indulge me, I will go quickly through the articles, and you can certainly stop me and if you have any questions on any of the items. The first one, we're still compiling the list of unpaid bills, so certainly we will have an updated list at your next meeting, which is, I think, currently scheduled for next Monday. So I expect this warrant to be mostly complete at that time, even though you're not scheduled to sign it until October 20th. Article 2 mostly has to do with transfers for the marijuana funds, impact funds. This is likely the last town meeting where we'll be transferring any real amount of funds out of that account. These are the same items we've been utilizing generally in the past. We do have social work services for the entire community, the school resource officer salary, and a school adjustment counselor. We do have one other item that's unrelated to the marijuana impact fees, and that is Tri-County. We did set those funds aside at the spring town meeting. But basically we needed to, this is basically a clerical item. It wasn't listed on one of the documents, so the state finance director explained to me the state would require us to actually place it on here just for clarification.
But this is not using the current.
This isn't new.
Yeah.
This isn't new. This is, these funds were already basically allocated at the spring town meeting.
Right, we put
So
them in a Tri-County, some kind of fund.
Yes, yes. So these aren't really new funds. This is just a clarification. Article 3 is as a single town-owned parcel, looking to be able to declare as disposable. It was just missed on the articles that were approved in the spring for the land. Articles 4 and 5. 4 is for road and sidewalk construction, design, repair, and maintenance. We don't have any dollar figures put in there as of this time. It's still being reviewed. And again, as I had mentioned, we're working with the Department of Revenue to get our final free cash numbers. So we should have an update for the board within the next couple of weeks on that. Article 5 is for tree pruning and removal. I had mentioned we do have a backlog of those items. Article 6 currently is the school building project. I am working with our project manager as well as folks from the MSBA on the appropriate language for that. It's a very prescriptive language that we have to have in there, so it's reviewed by the attorneys at MSBA. And it'll also be reviewed by our bond counsel before it's finalized. So we are working on finalizing that. Article 7 is the article for our capital projects. We have a total of 4 capital projects that the Capital Planning Committee has reviewed. One is for gas meters for $30,410. This item was actually, we were granted an earmark for this in the spring, but the governor has held all earmarks until later in the fall, until after we get clarification from the federal government as to what aid the state's going to be getting from the federal government. We hope that that earmark will be released sometime in the next few months. But the chief has placed this as a very high priority, so this is there just in case our earmark does not come through. The next item, you had met with folks from the planning board at a recent meeting about the general code software, $16,500. The downtown light poles through the DPW at $70,900, and then a Chevy 3500 dump truck with plow and sander for $90,370. Only a quarter of that item would come from the general fund. of the 3/4 would be from the enterprise funds. So a total of capital items of $208,180 total. Article 8 is from the Community Preservation Committee. They are requesting approval to utilize $20,000 from the Community Preservation Open Space Reserve Fund for the universally accessible trail construction in the public portion of the Glen project. Article 9, we discussed earlier this evening, that's an amendment to Article 6, Section 2 of the general bylaws for contract authority thresholds. Just as the finance director reviewed it. Article 10 is the amendment to Article 11, Section 2 of the general bylaws to increase the penalties for violating the disturbing the peace bylaw having to do with animals. Those updated thresholds are in line with the minimums as set forth by the Commonwealth. So those are the minimum amounts that the town has to have in their violation schedule. Article 11 has to do with general bylaws for discuss the leaf blower.
What happened to Article 10?
That was Article 10, was the general dog, was the disturbing the peace.
Did we ever talk about this? The fine thing? Is that all?
It was mentioned at the last meeting. I did do some research with the animal control officer as to what the minimums were.
Yep.
So right now, our minimum fines aren't in alignment with the state required minimum fines.
Okay, so
So this is the minimum that the town can actually assess and
We've
fine.
already, we're just upping the money?
Yes, we're already fining at this level, because the state law requires us to, but we're
Well,
increasing it officially
Got it, right.
so that it's listed in the bylaws.
Got it.
Article 11 has to do with some limitations on use of leaf blowers. I'll have some more specific language on that available to you prior to your next meeting.
Never mind.
The next item has to do with the FEMA flood insurance rate maps. The planning board is working on a final map that will be inserted into the warrant once that final map has been approved and forwarded.
You referred back to them.
Yes, at your last meeting, you referred that. Or actually earlier this evening.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, earlier this evening.
We're-
Seems like last week
We're all
already.
sleeping. Yes.
The next item has to do with the Millis zoning bylaws, with respect to ADUs. We did discuss this a little bit at your last meeting. This is the specific language that the planning board, in consultation with town council, needed to meet the clarified ADU requirements that the Attorney General's office has indicated we need to change our ADU bylaw to. Article 14 is the state required asset valuation recertification for the town of Millis, requested by the Board of Assessors. That's for $59,000. And then Article 15 is $8,200 for an actuarial study of the OPEB trust fund account, which is also required in state law. And Article 16 is to transfer a sum of money to the OPEB trust fund account. We usually try to put at least 50,000 in an account every fall. So those are all the articles that we're aware of at this point. We're not aware of any others. Again, we do have some language, language in the articles we have to work on. And there'll need to be some discussion on the dollar amounts for some of those articles, but I'd say the warrant is about 90% complete.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
So we'll have a further updated warrant for you at your next meeting on the 6th.
All right.
All right.
So that leaves us with liaison agreements. What's that?
I said back by popular demand.
Yes, so I actually have one.
We must have so many liaisons backed
I
up
know.
since the last three, right?
I really don't. I have the one that you went to.
I have one.
Ellen walks into my meeting and I looked at her, I'm like, what are you doing
What are you
here?
doing here?
I went to the Community Preservation Commission meeting and we talked about an ADA accessible hiking trail at the Glen, which it's located at the Glen, but it's open to the public, and that would be one of the few ADA accessible trails in the area. So they
He said
talked
the
about that.
only,
Medway has one.
no, I know, but only one in Millis.
Only one in Millis, yeah, in Millis,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was upset that he found out.
I know, I'm
Medway
sorry.
was one.
I stole a little bit of thunder there. And then we did have, it was like Metro West something. It was a group that does affordable housing. And they were talking about how they work with towns and get, amounts of money from towns and sometimes land gifts and.
All right, let me just read this.
Yeah.
This is the project on Hammond Lane.
I was gonna say, across in the bowling alley, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
This was Mark Howe's project. He
That's
came in front of us a couple of years ago.
right, and now he.
48 units or something. He's selling. They're doing their due diligence. It's Metro West. They're a company that specializes in the affordable housing, but 100%
Right,
of the units. Mark House was 25%.
Yeah.
So they made a presentation.
So they made a presentation and they talked about the different income levels that they deal with, like there's like a 30% income level that is subsidized. So it's like 30% of your income, then they subsidize. But that's just a very small amount of units that would qualify. And it's not necessarily all Millis people on the list. And then there's a 60% threshold. Whereas most of the quote unquote affordable housing is an 80% threshold. So they came to talk about that. In a nutshell, it sounds like they're probably looking for money.
Yeah, they're looking, didn't that kind of blow your mind?
Yeah, I mean, they want to.
They came, so
yeah,
they have this, they can withhold 70% or 100% of the units to Millis residents, right?
yes. Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
And their rent, it's rent. These are all rentals. Now, there's confusion, but I'm gonna say, so, but all of them go to our number. Because they're rentals. So they're trying to say, well, this is different than Mark House, because this was 25% and they don't all go to your number that you have with the state, but that's not true. Rentals, 100% count. So whether it's 25% or 100%, you get 100%.
Right,
With rentals, yes.
But they came in and they were saying how their rental rates are lower because they're based on income.
Mhm.
So that's different. But they're looking for a contribution. And I'm looking around
Like
like,
600,000 plus, like millions,
They're-
and they own the property. So like we give them money to create this housing unit property, but they own it and we don't.
Yeah,
it's their model.
it is the model. There are a lot of communities in
Would
the
they say
Commonwealth.
Medfield? Was it
I
Medfield?
think one
No,
of the towns,
Medway,
Medway,
Medway.
I think
That's
gave
right.
them 600,000, I think.
Must have been Medway, yeah.
And I did have one conversation with them, did explain to them that we don't have the pockets of Medway in our CPC funds. So I said the CPC would review any proposal, but
Right.
the funds would be limited.
So that's why they were with the CP.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was an interesting discussion,
Very
I mean, they made a really good presentation, but, it kind of left me with questions because I know we did have the Millis Housing Authority come here
I was just gonna
to
say that.
talk about like potential land use and stuff like that. So I don't know how the two organizations compare in terms of what they do for residents and affordability and, our stake in it,
Definitely different
so,
models.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yes.
different models. So I would I would say yes, there'd be a lot of questions and you'd want to dig a lot deeper.
It was so
It's not
interesting.
something, it's not a portion of the affordable housing context that I'm as familiar with, you know.
And not to get into the weeds, but I thought with the state housing. Basically, our contribution is the land,
That's right,
Right.
correct?
that's right. Yes,
Okay. But
absolutely.
this is actually capped on.
Yes, and it sounds like
To be.
they don't come if they don't, it sounded to
Okay.
me.
So
Yeah,
I think
it
that's
is.
Like,
Interesting.
Yeah,
they don't come unless they get money, and they didn't mention how much money
No.
at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're talking 100,000 or a million or $1 million.
Yeah, I
So
think.
more to be seen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions and I think they were trying, I imagine they were trying to get some
Get the
feedback
pulse.
as to what
Our
is,
appetite.
if there's even any interest or if there's a willing to have a further discussion.
I mean, the housing amount in the CPC currently is like 200-something thousand. I think they'd be looking for more money than that.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's the tough
Anyway.
discussion and tough decisions that the CPC is gonna have to weigh.
So that's the interesting meeting that Ellen and I went to. And then we talked about the train station. Ellen went through
Yeah,
the
I
train
gave a-
station progress and
I
everything.
did, I gave a
Yeah.
presentation, on the train station.
Mhm.
It was good.
And we didn't talk at the same time, so.
We
were
did not
good.
talk about. And I
Maybe you
could,
could do the train station for the municipal moment next time.
I could. Explain, yeah, what I'm doing.
Explain,
Yeah.
Um,
Doing and where
what
you're
we're
at.
doing.
Throwing it out.
I
Yeah,
only went
that's a
to
good
a Charles River.
I knew it.
And I have no recollection of what happened. What you did.
I went to multiple capital planning committees, the other CPC. And you saw the 4 items that were evaluated, so there's no surprise now. I mean, all the fun's been ruined by it.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah,
but we'll have recommendations. We're meeting, I believe, Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday night?
Actually tomorrow night
Tomorrow night.
for the
okay.
school project.
I lied to my wife. So I will not be home for dinner tomorrow night.
Is it on Zoom?
No, it'll be live.
No,
This one will be live in
then
person.
This is in person in room 104.
So Tuesday night was the,
7:30?
I think 7.
Oh, could be
but
7.
I got
Yeah,
it.
7,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, so it'll be in this room at 7 o'clock. Well, there it is. I'll be darned.
This room?
104.
No, 104.
104. So I
And
knew
what are
nothing.
they talking about?
They're talking about the school, the school building committee is doing the same presentation that we've seen
It's an
several times.
updated presentation.
But it'll be very similar, and it's just for that committee to endorse or not endorse the school project.
Okay.
Got to rate it on our scale and prioritize it, and, we've already, no spoiler alerts here, but we've already rated the other 4, so, we'll share that. And then also I went to multiple school building committees where we talked about the school building,
Right,
but we have that on our agenda also, so no, I'm going any further.
right.
All right, then. I think that was everything,
I think it is.
Yes.
Think
if you can
so.
believe it.
All right, I move the board enter into executive session for the following reason. To discuss strategy sessions in preparation for contract negotiations with union and non-union personnel, town administrator, fire chief, MCOP, local 171 MOA, and only return to open session for the purpose of adjourning.
Second,
Okay, I will roll call. Ellen,
yes.
Craig,
Yes.
yes, we are adjourned. Thank
Yeah,
you, Millis
yes.
Community Media,
Thank you.
and thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.
Scott,
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Scott.
Scott.
has it- you broke?
Uh,